Okay, sorry, you asked a question, I'm gonna give you an answer.
Our product is used on occasion to kill people.
We're in a world where you have to start speaking up.
When it's necessary to scare enemies and on occasion kill them.
I run around, I get yelled at all the time for Ukraine, ICE, Israel, and generally telling the truth.
Karp's relationship with the U.S. government is more important than even Lockheed Martin, who has long time been the largest beneficiary of government contracts. 75% of all of Lockheed Martin's business comes from Department of Defense contracts. They make things you can drop, things you can fly in the air. They have substantial, very deep relationships with the Central Intelligence Agency. And if you know anything about the CIA, it is much like Tom Cruise's famous movie, The Firm.
No lawyer has ever left your law firm alive. 2 tried to leave, they were killed. 2 were about to try, you know what happened.
Once you're in, there's no way out. So Lockheed can act under the guise that we're a private company taking defense contract, but what you are in actuality is a front for the CIA, because without the CIA, without the US government, without the billions that flow to you and has always been flowing to you, you would not be in existence. And you can't unplug from the CIA when you have so many sensitive secrets with them. Do you think the CIA would just let you leave? Palantir is the new Lockheed Martin. They are the new CIA front. Now, Karp takes pause with the suggestion that Palantir is a front for the CIA, but much like Lockheed Martin, many of their major contracts and their early days in business were largely funded by the CIA. Actually, for the first 5+ years of Palantir's business, they only had one customer, the Central Intelligence Agency. Recently, they were awarded a $10+ billion Department of Defense contract, and it is the largest software contract ever given out by the US government. They serve the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, the IRS, the Social Security Administration, the CDC, and even today's most controversial group, ICE.
I'm yours. Oh my God.
It's right. Yeah, we're good.
They helped to uncover the location of Osama bin Laden, and they were even the group that's responsible for uncovering Bernie Madoff's $50 billion Ponzi scheme.
That the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda.
Wall Street veteran Bernard Madoff has been arrested and charged with running a $50 billion Ponzi scheme. This is one of the biggest fraud cases ever.
And even when we were all sleeping and woke up to the breaking news that Russia was preparing to invade a sovereign country, Ukraine, that prediction came from Palantir. And then shortly thereafter, we all saw tanks driving across the Ukrainian border. Palantir's business with the US government substantially increased under the Biden administration and the Trump administration. Under the Biden administration, Palantir was instrumental in developing software that would help with the distribution of COVID vaccinations. President Trump signed an executive order into law which permits for Palantir to compile the data of every single American. And the goal is to create a predictive analysis capability which would allow for the government to predict behaviors of American citizens. Many do not even understand what it is that Palantir does and what is this revolutionary technology. Now, many are angry, but really don't understand what they're angry about. They just know that Palantir is the big boogeyman, but they don't know what they do or why they are doing it and why they are possibly a major threat to America. And if you want to understand who is Alex Karp, Look no further than studying who is Albert Einstein, who is J. Robert Oppenheimer, people who were responsible for creating revolutionary technology decades ago. Now, how is it that a simple software program can be more powerful than nuclear bombs? We saw the devastation that hit Hiroshima, Nagasaki, instantly killed hundreds of thousands of people.
And if there is a country that has committed unspeakable atrocities in the world, it is the United States of America. They don't care. They don't care for human beings. When Japan was retreating on all fronts, they decided to drop the atom bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Killed a lot of innocent people who are still suffering from the effects of those bombs. Those bombs were not aimed against the Japanese. They were aimed against the Soviet Union to say, look, this is the power that we have. If you dare oppose what we do, this is what is going to happen to you. Because they are so arrogant, they decided to kill innocent people.
Is artificial intelligence and robotics more deadly? Palantir's technology specializes in finding patterns in data. You can feed data to its technology and it will find behavior patterns. These patterns are what will help investigators and hardware companies and give purpose to companies like Lockheed Martin. Lockheed and Boeing can make a really great plane, but how do they know what to do with the plane? How does the plane know where it's at in the air and where to bomb and where to turn and where to shoot at? It is software that will allow for the hardware to have capabilities. Fortunately for Palantir, they have no competition. Silicon Valley has long looked down their nose at the US government, and they have shied away from taking Department of Defense contracts. And even if the CEOs and executives wanted to do more work in the Department of Defense space, their employees oftentimes revolt and they do petitions and they fight against executives and the CEO, and scary CEOs almost always back away. This happened with Microsoft. This happened with Google. When the employees revolt, the CEOs run. Palantir is a company that is willing to stand in the face of scrutiny and say, well, I don't really care what you small people think. We're building technology that makes America scary and dominant, and we want our technology to be so crippling and so scary that no adversary of the United States would dare to bother us. Now, simplification for dummies. If you're having trouble understanding the seriousness, the effectiveness of software development and artificial intelligence, understand that software and AI is the new arms race. This is where countries are competing at now. It's no longer who has the biggest bomb. It's no longer, will you shoot a bomb into my country? Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government just a few years ago had a totally different public standing than what it was today, because before our eyes, we were able to see mass devastation, a new Holocaust occurring in Gaza. Death and destruction, killing of babies and women and small children occurring by the tens of thousands. And do you know the company that was highly instrumental in all of those deaths? Palantir Technologies, with Alexander Karp at the helm. Let that be an example to you to understand the capabilities of Palantir. That's the devastation that software and artificial intelligence is capable of. I can't think of a better example to explain the psychology of Alex Karp than a passage from his book. His book, The Technological Republic: Hard Power, Soft Beliefs, and the Future of the West. This book is one of the better books I have read in recent history. I will be giving it a 5-star review, and it will be in my psychology book club recommended reads. If you're at all confused by the psychology of Alex Karp and the mission of his company Palantir, this is the book for you. But you should read the book because it will give you an understanding of what is to come, the world that we will all be living in the immediate future. The nuclear bombs that were used on Hiroshima ended the lives of nearly 100,000 people in a single moment, sending thousands more to the city's main hospital, which only had 600 beds. The destruction was total and complete. The flash of fire had left patterns in the shape of flowers on the bodies of some women. The use of atomic weapons in Japan was only the final act of an equally brutal and unrelenting assault against the country's civilian population. American warplanes had pounded the cities. Their purpose was to level buildings and kill civilians in the hope of forcing the Japanese military to surrender. The American strategy was of a new type of war, a war that did not distinguish between combatants on the battlefield and civilians working in factories. The people themselves were rightly subject to the direct operations of war, and as a result were considered legitimate targets of attack. That means the people, women and children and babies, were considered legitimate targets of attack. Too many take for granted that nearly a century of some version of peace has prevailed in the world. So what is the positioning that the book is taking here? It is saying that the B-29 bombers killing as many women and children as you can possibly kill, trying to force a surrender, that the atomic bombs that were dropped that killed hundreds of thousands, that created, in Karp's eyes, a peaceful world, and thus it is justified. In my book, The Don, I talk in Rule 20, take it to the mattress. When it's time to kill, kill everyone. And the theory in the book speaks on the psychology of war and what to do when war is a must. The new direction will come through war. The leaders of the previous regime must die along with their supporters. When a boss dies, his faithfuls must go with him. Drop the hammer, kill the sons and the sons of the sons, burn everything to ash. Going to war is the last resort, but if it becomes necessary, the war should be swift, killing as many people in the shortest amount of time. The air should reek of death. Why pussyfoot in war? When war comes, kill all the cocksuckers and the whole family. To waver in combat is to bring about your demise. Be brutal. Your enemies don't deserve a merciful killing. Shoot them, slash their throats, steal their money, and take over their rackets. Show your strength. Put fear in your enemy's mind. They will say, this guy will take your mother and father and he'll put them together in a barrel. Don't worry about the blood you have spilled, for your rivals would have done the same to you. Alex Karp, in his book, The Technological Republic, while a fascinating book, it is the embodiment of what it means to be power-driven, power-hungry, when it's power by any means. Alex Karp takes a beating in the public. Donald Trump has recently come out and have shown great support for Palantir and Alex Karp. But what do we say about people like this? They think far differently than the commoner. These are Machiavellian people. The prince thinks different than the commoner. Are they a force for good or are they a force for evil? What do you guys think? I'm RJ Roger. I am the author of The Don, 36 Rules of the Bosses. It's in stores now. Please support the book. Peace and love, and I'll see you next week.